New York City, home to about 8.4 million people and perhaps over a million more by 2030, has a housing problem.
While there are about 1.8 million one- and two-person households in the city, there are only about 1 million studio and one-bedroom apartments, and that imbalance is expected to grow in the years to come.
In January 2013, Mayor Michael Bloomberg announced the winners of Adapt NYC, a design contest to create new models to meet the demand for smaller, more affordable housing.
This is, for big cities, particularly cities that attract young people, going to be a very big problem coming down the road, and this is the first step that we're taking to try to find a solution.
The winning design, proposed by Monadnock Development, is called My Micro NY. The city will provide land on 27th Street in Manhattan for the pilot project, a 55 micro-unit building set to open at the end of 2015, with apartments that range between 250 and 330 square feet. While development of this kind goes towards solving the city's housing problem, the thing is, this very design can't be legally built in most of New York today due to outdated zoning laws and housing regulations. To explore this further, Future Cities recently visited an exhibit at the Museum of the City of New York called Making Room, the centerpiece of which is a full-scale model of a 325 square foot micro-unit. There we met with Sarah Watson, Deputy Director at the Citizens Housing Planning Council, a nonprofit organization that conducted research for Making Room, who spoke to us about micro-units and the urgent need for housing reform in New York.
A third of all of the homes and apartments in New York have a single person living by themselves, which is a huge, it's actually 1 in 2 in Manhattan. So 50% of all of the housing has just a single person living by themselves. In a way, everybody else is sharing in some way to try and fit in. So you have all these single people living alone, and then you have all these people sharing in some way. It's not permitted for more than 3 people who are not related to each other to share a home or an apartment in New York. So we tasked architects to come up with ideas to actually not worry so much about the laws and codes that shape a home on the inside, but come up with real options for safe, legal housing that would actually support the needs of how people are living. So we're sat in a micro unit, which is a very small studio. It's 325 square foot. And it's been built specifically for the exhibition, just to showcase what a small space can really be like. We actually have a couch here that converts into a bed within 10 seconds. It pulls out with 2 fingers, and actually the shelf stays horizontal, so it's all about ease. You don't have to be making up your bed and moving a lot of things. You know, it comes down easily, it goes up easily. That's the goal. We also have a desk that shuts away, that also opens with 1 finger. We have very large closets. You know, we really worked hard to make sure that lifestyles weren't compromised again, and storage is a big issue in micro units. So we did to-the-ceiling storage with special features so that you can easily access your clothes, but you're really taking advantage of the vertical storage. We have a coffee table that turns into seating for 4. We also have a dining table that's shut away under kitchen counters that pulls out again instantly and transforms the living room into a dining room. So it's using actually very old ideas, you know, the old Murphy bed, the table that you can store away in the corner. You know, it's using these old ideas, but bringing a fresh angle on and making sure that they support people's lifestyles. You can still have small without having overcrowding, and you still need overcrowding rules. So our organization is focused on the regulations that do need to change. You know, the pilot will be great to test what that can be, but ultimately we'd be looking for more substantial change in New York zoning, so that in certain areas of the city this density is relaxed. So that's something that we're really focused on, and also to allow shared housing to evolve better, and for our existing homes to be able to evolve. So the single family home to be able to maybe rent their basement safely and legally if it follows certain things, and also to allow people who are unrelated to be able to share, which we think really should come out in the open, and we should be able to design them in safe, legal ways.